What Judge Curry asked, her very last question, do you believe U.S. v. Trump was wrongly decided? The Trump defense team, when Donald Trump was a criminal defendant, he had won his case by having the prosecutor, Jack Smith, tossed off of it in Florida in a set of arguments very similar to this. And she pointed out that the Attorney General said she had read all of the grand jury transcripts in this case. The judge went back and forth with that Justice Department attorney saying that's not even possible, and some of them are missing.
And we're back, y'all. Thank you for watching today. Go ahead and hit that like button, my people. You know that it helps us out a ton. And of course, it helps you because it helps us keep bringing you these stories every day. Now, y'all, today we're going to talk about your girl. You know who she is. It's Letitia James. She is on trial currently for bank fraud. And she's trying to get the prosecutor in the case, Lindsey Halligan, disqualified from her position. And just this week, y'all, there was a hearing in Alexandria in federal court about just that. Now, remember, Letitia James, she's teamed up with James Comey, the two Jameses. They've teamed up and together they're looking to get Lindsey Halligan, the federal prosecutor, disqualified from her position under a theory that she was improperly appointed to her position. And things went left, y'all. Things went left during the hearing for Lindsey Halligan, okay? So there's some good news for James because things went left for Lindsey Halligan. There's some bad news for James because if this trial does continue, as I'm going to show you, this could get really ugly for Letitia James, y'all. So I'm not going to do a long lead in, y'all. Let's go ahead and hop right into the story. But before we do, y'all, we are launching our official Patreon. So if you want to be a founding member on our Patreon, we have just 222 slots, y'all. If you want to be a founding member, go down, click the very first link in the description, and you're going to feel good about this, y'all, because believe it or not, we are an actual paralegal school, and we help people get their paralegal certificate and get working in the paralegal field. And all of the proceeds from our Patreon, when you enroll as a founding member, all of that is going to go to scholarships for people who would like to study at our institute, y'all. So click that first link down in the description. Join us as a founding member, y'all. This deal will not come back. Now let's get into the story.
Courtroom, Caitlin, you were inside. You listened to all those arguments. So what happened during the hearing?
Well, Wolf and Pam, I was listening very closely to how Judge Cameron McGowan Curry was going to handle this hearing. And she's a laid-back questioner, a very concise questioner. But boy, it was a grilling of the Justice Department if I have ever seen one before from a judge like this. She really dug in to some of the moves the Attorney General had made in this case to stand up and back Lindsey Halligan, the Eastern District of Virginia U.S. Attorney, who's there sent by Donald Trump on an interim basis. The bigger picture of this case is about, has it been too long without a Senate confirmed person in this job? Judge Curry asked some questions of that, but she had even more questions for the Justice Department, even a back and forth on whether or not it was needed for the Attorney General to send an order into court.
All right, y'all. So here we have the judge asking a lot of questions in a laid back format, right? But a lot of questions. And as you're about to see, y'all, ooh, the Justice Department is it behind the 8 ball? They're behind the 8 ball on this one, y'all. They are behind the 8 ball. I'm about to show you. Take a look at this.
And she pointed out that the Attorney General said in a statement to the court in an order she signed on October 31st, she had read all of the grand jury transcripts in this case. The judge went back and forth with that Justice Department attorney saying that's not even possible, and some of them are missing. Wolf and Pam.
So, y'all, this reporter, I feel, does not really fully bring to you, the viewer, what happened there. I saw another reporter talk about that, but I'm not sure that I have permission to bring you his version of events. But what he said is that Pam Bondi had represented to the court that she reviewed the Comey transcripts, the grand jury transcripts, okay? So mind you, this is all Lindsey Halligan in there. Lindsey Halligan is the prosecutor. She's Trump's former attorney. She's the prosecutor now for Comey and James, and she signed on to these cases all by herself, y'all, all by her lonesome. So she's in there with the Comey grand jury. She's doing her thing, and then there should be a transcript of everything that happens. So after that, Pam Bondi says, yeah, I reviewed the transcripts, and I'm gonna give everything that happened there my stamp of approval. So when they go to court on Thursday, the judge is like, where's the entire transcript? Apparently there was over 2 hours of proceedings that occurred in the real world where the transcript was missing. And apparently that was the final 2 hours of the grand jury testimony. So you have 2 hours missing, apparently, right? And then you have Pam Bondi later with this missing. It basically looks like Pam Bondi didn't review it, because anybody would have said, where's the entire transcript? Like, you're not going to stamp it with approval if you have 2 hours missing. You're going to say to the person who gave you the transcript, hey, where's the rest of this? But Pam Bondi stamped it with approval, even though apparently there were 2 hours worth of testimony missing. And now the judge is like, you couldn't have reviewed the whole transcript, or you couldn't have reviewed what happened, because the transcript doesn't reflect everything that happened because it's 2 hours missing. Okay. So that's a huge problem, but that's on the Comey side. Okay. That's on the Comey side, but it does paint the Justice Department as a slapdashery of slip, slop, sloppiness. Okay. It's very, very bad, y'all. And then to add icing onto the top of the cake, take a look at this. Now, y'all remember Jack Smith and the whole Trump classified documents at Mar-a-Lago thing? And Jack Smith was disqualified. You want to know the reason that the classified documents case didn't go further? Because the prosecutor, Jack Smith, was disqualified. And you know why? Because he was inappropriately appointed. The same thing they're saying about Lindsey Halligan.
What Judge Curry asked, her very last question of the the Justice Department, do you believe U.S. v. Trump was wrongly decided? That's a very telling question, because the Trump defense team, when Donald Trump was a criminal defendant, he had won his case by having the prosecutor, Jack Smith, tossed off of it in Florida in a set of arguments very similar to this. And Judge Curry is now asking the Justice Department, are you guys against that now, as the Justice Department wanting these cases against James Comey and Letitia James to go forward? The Justice Department lawyer responded, that's a different thing. That was a different situation that doesn't apply here. But that was quite a question that elicited gasps across the courtroom from a lot of people that were listening to this hearing.
So to remind you of the Jack Smith disqualification for being inappropriately appointed, you know, the same thing that now they're arguing is the case with Lindsey Halligan. Just review this with Jack Smith so you can compare.
A federal judge and Trump appointee Aileen Cannon has thrown out the indictment charging Trump with mishandling classified documents. Cannon ruled the appointment of special counsel Jack Smith is unconstitutional. So, Jessica, explain this decision and the argument over the special counsel to us.
So this decision is based on a part of the Constitution called the Appointments Clause. And what she says is that Jack Smith was not validly appointed. She basically says there are two routes here for appointing somebody. You can either have a superior officer who is appointed by the president and then confirmed with advice and consent of the Senate, or you can have an inferior officer, and then you need a statute that authorizes that appointment. What Judge Cannon says is, let's assume that Jack Smith is an inferior officer, so you didn't need advice and consent from the Senate. What she's saying is, I don't see a statute that authorizes this.
What's the difference between an inferior and a principal officer?
It's a great question. It really depends on the level of responsibility you have, the level of independence. It depends on, in some ways, it's exactly what it sounds like, in the sense of how much power do you have in the government. So a principal officer, for instance, would be somebody like an attorney general, would be a federal judge. And then an inferior officer might be somebody who is appointed to the Department of Justice, but is not an attorney general. So there is a division in our government between those positions that are Senate confirmable, meaning they're principal, and those that are not, meaning they're inferior positions. But frankly, it's about what it sounds like. It's about how powerful you are and the level of responsibility and duties that you have.
So I originally thought that because Lindsey Halligan was instrumental and was the only prosecutor who signed off on the indictment for Comey and James, I thought that these would be essentially the same case in the sense that if she's disqualified for one, she's disqualified for the other. But as we just saw, there was a key difference in what happened with James and with Comey, in that the Comey transcript was missing hours of testimony. Who would have thought? Who would have thought that the government would have submitted transcripts that were missing hours of testimony, and that the United States Attorney General Pam Bondi would have said, yeah, I reviewed it, it's good to go, I'm stamping it with approval. Apparently that wasn't the case in Letitia James's situation. So now they're different in that sense. So it is possible that would be enough to have Halligan disqualified on the Comey case and perhaps not on the Letitia James case. We'll have to wait and see. In the meantime, y'all, the Letitia James case is going forward, and this is a major subpoena. They being the United States government, they are subpoenaing the New York State Commission on Ethics and Lobbying in Government, y'all. This is for them to come and testify on January 26th at 10 a.m. Here it says, you have been served with a trial subpoena being conducted in this court. This trial subpoena directs you to appear for testimony at trial on the date above. In lieu of trial appearance, kindly produce and provide all requested documents on or before December 5th, 2025. But I don't see a document saying what documents are requested. I would imagine this has something to do with Letitia James's financial records, maybe previous ethics complaints against her. So yeah, y'all, if this does go to trial, it looks like the investigation is going to be deep, wide, penetrating. And so this definitely is bad news for her. She's got to be hoping, praying that somehow this case gets dismissed under the Lindsey Halligan improperly appointed scenario. So yeah, y'all, things are definitely heated up. We are expecting the judge's ruling by Thanksgiving. I previously said that I think that the judge will allow this case to continue, but I'm less confident now, y'all, because with the missing transcript, even though that's on the Comey side, but with the missing 2 hours of transcript of grand jury testimony, it makes the DOJ look very, very sloppy, even dishonest. And I don't know that the judge can punish the DOJ in the Letitia James case for what they did in the Comey case, but it damages their credibility. So I'm gonna move my prediction to neutral, y'all. I don't know what's gonna happen. Let me know what you think's gonna happen, y'all. If it does move forward, it's looking bad for Letitia James, but I just don't know at this point. Drop a comment down below. What do you think's gonna happen, y'all? Let me know. But before you do, please stop, y'all. Help the channel out. Hit the share button. Share this video out over email, text message, WhatsApp, Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, all your favorite social media. And of course, if you're not a subscriber, please do subscribe. Y'all check out that first link in the description. You can support the channel further with a subscription to our Patreon. Want to thank y'all for watching. Love y'all. We'll see you back in the next one.
But the appointment issue, I think, is a very strong argument. There are 3 ways a U.S. attorney can be appointed. One way is with Senate confirmation. Another way is through the Federal Vacancies Reform Act, which allows the appointment of somebody who's either been presidentially appointed and Senate confirmed to some other position or has been serving in that agency for 90 days, or through the interim process where someone gets to serve for 120 days. Lindsey Halligan meets none of those qualifications. They already had their go at the 120-day interim with Eric Siebert. And so because there is no path for appointment, I think there's a very strong argument here that Halligan's appointment is illegal. We're going to hear arguments about that in the Third Circuit Court of Appeals today regarding Alina Habba and that may give us some insights. But of course, this case is pending in the Fourth Circuit as opposed to the Third Circuit, so we could see different outcomes there.